Hey, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Soul CEO podcast. This is Rachel Picard. I am your host. And if you are brand new to this channel, make sure that you do subscribe. And if you get a chance to leave a 5-star rating and, of course, a written review, I super appreciate it. This conversation today is going to be pen and paper worthy. And as I always say, that the best leaders are excellent students. You're going to be learning from one of the best, creme de la creme, cream of the top, social media recruiters inside the entire network marketing space. I've had the privilege of knowing this woman now for going on 8+ years. I've seen her built up to earning a 6-figure income inside of network marketing. She's a very godly woman, married, has an incredible story, is a multipreneur, an investor, has built businesses offline and online, and just an exceptional human being over and over. All in all, I just absolutely adore her. So Erika Dale, welcome to the Soul CEO podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Excited to have you here. Now, Erika, some of my these listeners, the Soul CEOs are listening, they may be familiar with you kind of in our tribe already, but I bet a lot of people have never heard of you before. So tell us a little bit about your story. And by the way, guys, this is part 1 of 2 on a conversation. So we're doing part 1 on the Soul CEO podcast. But if you guys need to, you're going to want to make sure you go and subscribe over to Erika's Level Up Your Life podcast for more of the conversation. We're going to continue on to part 2. Erika, tell a little bit about our listeners, your background and story, and especially what led you to network marketing.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, Rachel. And yeah, the feeling's mutual of just getting, the last 8+ years of growing our relationship from mentoring to friendship and beyond. But I had a pretty good life, right? I talk about things all the time that kind of inspire me. And it's mostly people that I see doing more, doing better, and coming from just crazy places of lack and abuse and all of these things. I had a good life, but like most people, I was struggling in a lot of areas, coming out of college, kind of finding myself as a person, went through a divorce, and found myself in a place of really just financial ruin. And that's what jump-started network marketing for me. But it was more than that. It was this desire to have more, to be more. I always felt like there was something else out there, but I didn't know what network marketing was. And then when it was brought to me, I wanted nothing to do with it, until it got to a place where I actually came home in the middle of winter, living in Pennsylvania, to a shut-off notification for my electric. And that was the most humbling, embarrassing moment of my life, because I was working. I had a master's degree. I was, in a career, so I thought.
And your master's degree was it like social services, child development?
Yeah, it was in school counseling. So at the time, I was doing therapeutic foster care counseling with kids, and loved it. Right, felt like I was sort of making an impact on the world.
And you followed the typical American dream, right? You went and got a good school. You had a scholarship. You were an incredible college athlete in softball. You went in even further past your bachelor's, got your master's. You're living the dream. And then you show up one day and your utilities are shutting off.
Yeah. Yep. And it was just that smack in the face that I think a lot of people need, right? Kind of finding that rock bottom, so to speak, where I finally said, you know what, if this network marketing thing that I've said no to for a few years can make me never feel this again in my life, sign me up, tell me what to do. And I'd love to tell you that, I jumped in and I was just this overnight success and rock star and making tons of money. But let me tell you, it doesn't work that way for the most part. I had a lot of learning to do. I had a lot of humbling moments to experience and to get through to really get to where I've gotten to in the last 8 years. But it's just been such a journey of, again, finding myself, finding what I thought I was meant to do and what I thought was my mission in life, to completely transforming that, but still being able to help people. Because at the end of the day, when I was 8 years old and I got asked what I wanted to be, I knew I wanted to help people.
Yeah.
And so I'm still doing that in just a much different fashion than I ever expected.
So in 2015, you had about 3.5 years of network marketing experience, some highs, some lows. You were divorced, went through several relationships, and you had met your now husband and were dating at the time, but you hit another financial rock bottom in 2015. So tell us about what happened in that fall. And you were kind of had the invitation to do network marketing a second time.
Yeah.
And tell us at that moment, how much money do you have in your bank account?
So the
Tacos
day
did you have?
the day I said yes again, and again, I'll tell you, it wasn't an easy yes. I wasn't sure that I wanted to do this again. Um, I had $226 to my name and a whole lot of debt, right? Master's degree, living outside of my means, not understanding how to manage money. The money that I did make at one point, I had nothing to show for it. And, but again, I was in this place of, I was dating this incredible man who was very successful, owned gyms. I knew his finances. I saw his bank account and I
Yeah.
was like, can't tell him about mine because that's not going to work. And I wasn't confident. I wasn't secure to even really be completely truthful in my relationship. And that doesn't feel good for anybody. And so I was at this crossroads again of, all right, I'm working 50, 60-hour weeks. I'm managing a gym. I do like what I'm doing, but I don't see myself doing this for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And so once again, I said, you know what? I know what's possible in this industry. I see what people are doing. Let's dive in. Let's give it a second go.
And I think a lot of people, they join a company or two or more and they don't see results, or maybe it's inconsistent, or they have a pop and drop experience or a bad taste in their mouth. And I always tell people that your past doesn't dictate your future, because you had some nominal, like, minor success, some good months, but then a lot of struggle that led you to being broke and being in debt and being ashamed of where you were at 30 years old with a master's degree. But you decided to take a leap. You decided to take a risk and to start over because you knew something had to change. And so you joined your new company and you decided at that point, this is 2015, I followed your journey to go full on social media. And you built your business probably 95% or more on social media. What are your numbers now? So 5 years in, how many people have you enrolled via Facebook, Instagram, social media in general?
Over 800.
800 people
5
in
years.
5 years. Tell us how you did it.
Well, I
What's your secret?
definitely, coming into that, one of my holdups of saying yes to this opportunity back in 2015 was I was working 50, 60-hour weeks. I didn't have time to build the traditional network marketing, home meetings and hotel meetings and one-on-one coffee meetings. I mean, I was working 9 to 9 some days. So I know there's a lot of people out there that have that exact same struggle, or maybe you have kids or whatever it is. Time is, it's the one commodity we don't get back. And so I actually had talked to Rachel at the time and said, I can't do this like we used to do it. And she goes, oh, no, we're going all online. And honestly, that was my green flag to say, okay, let's dive in. But social media, people think it's just this, oh, I'm going to put a post up and I'm going to have 500 customers and they're going to throw their credit cards at me. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, if you think it's going to be easier because you're building on social media, you're dead wrong. Yeah. Now, I do believe it can be faster. I think you get in front of more people in a much quicker method. But at the end of the day, it's still the same skill sets. It's still the same personal development. All of the things that go along with the traditional network marketing have to happen.
Yeah. Like, how many home meetings do you have to get 250 people to see a message, but you can do a Facebook Live and get 250 views. And so you're right. You have more leverage there for sure. But there is time involved. Like, I like to balance it both. I say, listen, we're going to do attraction marketing, which is, by the way, guys, if you're just listening, is like you're putting out little nets, curiosity posts, value. We talk about that in episode 3 and 4 of the Soul CEO podcast about building a micro celebrity brand. But that can take a little bit of time to build a following, but it's also going to give you longevity. It's going to give you leads, prospects, and influence, people to talk to years from now. But in the meantime, you work your warm market. So you did both, right? You started being online, but you were also cold messaging. You were also working your warm market, working lukewarm referrals, etc. let's talk about what's been effective. Do you have a favorite social media platform?
I mean, I definitely use as many and all that I can, but I do believe you've got to kind of perfect one and really maximize one. And that's been Facebook. It's still Facebook 5 years later.
Yeah. Tell me about a DMO or some of the biggest things. Like if I were brand new and I said, okay, Erika, I'm gonna follow your system. I'm gonna talk to my friend. I'm gonna talk to my grandma. I'm absolutely gonna send out some messages with an app or whatever. But I also want to do what you're doing. And okay, you said Facebook. What should I do daily on Facebook? Like what has been the biggest ROI looking back to um equivalent like to now get 800 plus enrollments?
Yeah, I think the big thing that people miss is again just the action, taking action, getting into Messenger, getting in front of people, and at the end of the day, you're just asking if they're open, right? You're asking if they're open to taking a look at your product or your service or your opportunity. But you can't post and pray. You can't just attraction marketing 100%. You have to build your brand. You have to really get people in front of you and getting them to know, like, and trust you. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to the people, you're missing out on the greatness that there is.
Yeah, I always say posting without presentations is a lottery. It's like it's a lottery. It's a dream and it's a lottery mentality. It's a hope. It's a wish. It's a prayer. Presentations, where you're actually inviting somebody to take a look. That's where the conversation and the magic happens. As far as on Facebook, do you ever share your products or do you never talk about the brand? Like I know that there's a kind of two camps inside of network marketing. Like I spam like commercial all day long or like on the cover photo it says the company branding or the you post the product labels etc. Or are you somebody that like kind of if I even spent 30 minutes I'm never going to figure out what company, like where do you find yourself, what do you think is been effective for you?
Yeah, I definitely do both. And I think, especially when you're brand new, I think you have to talk about the product, talk about the opportunity, talk about the testimony, share stories that get people saying, what is it? Or I could use that, or I need those things. As you grow, I think you can do less and less of that. And I know that, like you said, there's two school of thoughts, and some of you are probably like, oh my gosh, don't ever post your product, don't ever. And you can go both ways. But for me, I mean, when I have sales coming in, it's when I'm posting a testimony or when I'm posting about our product, when I'm telling people what our products will do for them. That's what they want to know. But if you don't ever do that and you're brand new, well, nobody knows what you have. Nobody knows that they can even order from you. And if they spend 30 minutes trying to figure it out, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go find it somewhere else.
One of the biggest frustrations I've ever had. There's been times where I love to frequent and be a consumer of other network marketing companies. I probably have 6 or 7 in my home right now. I love to support my friends. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to buy essential oils, it's going to be from a network marketing company. If I'm going to buy makeup, I'd like to try from a makeup company, et cetera, right? And especially products that we do not have in our company. Like I want to support my friends. But one of the frustrating parts is like, I know that they're in that business, or I think, but like, I can't find their link. I can't really know for sure. I'm just like intrigued. I'm like, oh gosh, I've spent a half hour trying to figure out what company you're in. And it's just so frustrating. And I have found for me, I do like you, I drip a little bit. I'll share the product a little bit. I'll share in the packaging kind of just kind of lightly sprinkled in every few weeks or whatever. So that, and I have my website on every single social media account, whether in like a link tree or the straight website. And I have gotten incidental sales. I have people that it's like, if you talk to, they've been watching you, people are watching, make it easy for them to buy. And I was like so frustrated one time. I wanted to buy a shake from somebody, a meal replacement shake. And I couldn't, and I probably sent her a message and it probably went to her other request folder or whatever. And I'm like, I want to buy from you because I like you and I really like your shake and you're making it really hard for me to give you money right now.
Take my money.
Take my money, right? Tell me a little bit about Facebook Lives. You're really good at them. And more importantly, you're very consistent at them. Was it easy for you to start? How often are you doing them? Tell me a little bit about your evolution of using video for connection and rapport.
I was bad. I always
You
tell
just like
people,
roll out of bed and you were just like a
oh my
natural video
God.
star.
I have pictures, memories on Facebook is like I have a love-hate relationship with it, but humbling beginnings, right? So I have a picture somewhere that it's me holding my phone in one of those floor length mirrors. It's before Facebook Lives were a thing. So I was doing a video in the mirror, and that was one of my first videos on social media. Horrible, horrible. I'm sure there was like dirt in the mirror, right? Like grease from something. But you have to start, and you're gonna, I think I learned this from you. You're gonna be bad before you're good, and you're gonna be good before you're great, but you're never gonna get to that greatness if you don't just start. So do it scared, do it bad. And the cool thing about Facebook Lives, if you're not, you don't have a following yet, or you maybe haven't really developed your brand, probably nobody's watching anyway. So just go do it and get your practice and get your feet wet. But video, it's a must. It's the one thing, it's been around. It's been one of the favorites for years, and I don't see that going anywhere. But I also think it's the most underutilized resource that we have at our fingertips.
Yeah. So it's kind of just do it. Like you just do it. And I always say, like, listen, you are going to be bad in the beginning, but the good news is nobody's watching. Nobody's
Exactly.
watching. And by
Thank
the
God.
time, yeah, by the time that you find your voice and some posture and some confidence, that's when you finally start having a following. And the few people that maybe the onesie twosies that watched you in the beginning that see your evolution is going to be much more inspiring, because they're going to be like, yeah, I saw you when you were just getting started, and you've transitioned and transformed and grown. And it's just super inspiring. How often should a network marketer be going live, in your opinion? Is there a minimum? Is there a maximum? Is there too much?
Yeah, I think it really just depends on kind of where you are in your journey. Like right now, I'm going all in on video. I'm trying to double down on my business. So I'm doing one live a week at minimum. I'm doing one YouTube video a week. I have a girl on my team who is doing a 90-day run, and I said, you need to go do a live every day. Go put yourself out there. And so she's doing like a burst of video because she's really kind of slacked off on her video presence over the last 6 months or a year. I would also say if you are brand new at video or lives, you're scared, you're uncomfortable, challenge yourself, do a 14-day burst or do a 30-day burst, and just go nuts. And again, find your voice, find, what is easy to talk about, and track it. It's really fun to watch, those really low views grow over the course of 2 weeks and 4 weeks and in whatever you decide to do. And like Rachel said, just putting yourself out there and seeing the journey that you create.
It's kind of like ripping the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
You can do a video a week or a video a month for a year, and get maybe 12, 15, whatever, videos done, and slowly, progressively, maybe possibly improve. Or you can just get over the fear right away, rip the Band-Aid, get into the habit, and build the muscle. And you and I talk about fitness all the time. You have your PhD now in nutrition. Congratulations. Your husband is an award-winning bodybuilder. You guys support, endorse, and run natural bodybuilding contests. You've owned gyms. You've won bodybuilding contests as well. And so we talk about that all the time. Like if I were to train my shoulders every 2 weeks, would they grow?
Right.
Would they grow? Would they really get better? You're like, no. You need to hit those things a couple times a week, with a progressive overload. And so, in skill set and network marketing, progressively overload, like do the reps, put on the heavier weights, do the harder things. You gotta have stress in order to grow. And video is like Erika said, is still the most underutilized. Live video has been around now for 5+ years. I mean, it was Periscope, and then boom, Facebook Live came out to, and then flew Periscope into oblivion. And so it's still so underutilized. And kind of wrapping this up, one of the things that I really, you and I are aligned with, and I think it's part of why people are attracted to Soul CEO, is the fact that we are not shy about our faith in our marketing. And you're a Christian, you're a believer. There is a consensus amongst many uplines and or trainers that there's two things you should never talk about. It is politics and religion. And I laugh because that's literally how I built my entire brand over 10 years, is talking about politics, world events, and religion. Not all day, every day, not in a super negative way, but I've always just been like, hey, this is me, right? Tell me a little bit about your feelings with that. Have you always shared your faith? Was this, did you grow in that? Did you transition? And what would you even share to other network marketers about maybe sharing their values more transparently?
Yeah, I think again, people will tell you one thing. I know Rachel was told, don't ever, and she was like, watch me. But
That's like the first thing to not do is tell me what not to do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm like the kid with the button, like, don't touch the button. Now all I want to do, I'm looking at the button. That's all I want to do is press the button.
But no, I mean, I grew up in the faith. I have my roots. My parents still go to the church I grew up in, right? So that was always a part of me. But as I really started to dive into network marketing and really create kind of a brand, it wasn't always there. And I think it was more just because I had kind of gone away from it, not necessarily lost my faith but went to college, did all the things, and just kind of struggled getting married, getting divorced, in and out of a really rocky relationship. But probably around 2015, 16, getting into our current company, getting around leaders that were openly sharing their faith pushed me down that road and pushed me back into that. And I'm of the belief that, you are going to attract what you put out. And how much easier is it to lead people that have very similar like-minded interests when it comes to faith and politics and things like that. And it's not to say that if you don't, that you can't mesh and you can't build a really
Right.
awesome business. You absolutely can, but it makes it easier when you are aligned.
Yeah, it's the term of equally yoked, and I've always been super open about it. Like it's asking me not to be tall.
Mm.
It's like it's asking for me not to be introverted or loud or like it just is who I am. And I think even to the Bible, we look at Luke 9:26. For whoever is ashamed of me and my words, of him will the Son of Man be ashamed when he comes to his glory and the glory of the Father and holy angels. Meaning, extrapolating, making it simple, if you're ashamed of Jesus, Jesus will be ashamed of you. And I find so often that because of, and it's really only in Christianity that the kind of persecutions, the name of Jesus is, it terrifies so many demons, and it really raises up so many people for the frustration. Like if I were to go say Allah or Buddha or whatever, most people don't care. And I do get heat on this sometimes. I get heat from random circles, not typically in Americans, being at least postmodern society, what was a very Christian nation. I don't tend to get the hate, but I just feel like, listen, it's if this is who you are, like look at the scripture, and regardless of what, I know a lot of Christians listen to this podcast, but a lot of non-Christians do as well. You've got to do you. I don't think you should change for social media. I don't think you should try to be somebody else. You shouldn't try to be Erika. There's only one Erika. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You got to be you. You're different. You're unique. And you got to be authentically in the calling. And as a believer, we are called to stand for the kingdom. And we are called to emulate and point to Christ in all that we do. Any last tips as far as social media for network marketers that you could tell somebody, maybe they're struggling to be consistent, or maybe they're not finding leads, or they're not growing their network? Is there something that you would point to or say, hey, this is what I'd be doing every single day, or some long-term vision for them?
Yeah, I think consistency is the number one thing. It's the number one killer, the lack of consistency. So what can you do every day to drive your business forward? Is it one post a day? Is it 5 reach out messages in Messenger? And I think a lot of people think they have this all or nothing mentality. And I actually just got off a mentoring session, and this girl was like, oh, I don't know who I am or what I should be doing in all realms. It wasn't just in our company. It was her passion for art and her other business and this. And I said, why do you feel like you have to be all or nothing? why can't you do 2 things every day that will move the needle forward on your business? And she just like had this epiphany moment, like, oh my gosh. And now she's putting me on 3-ways again, and she's just back into motion. But don't, make it easy. If you need to have a breakthrough, start with a creative action plan that's easy, meaning 1 to 2 things every day that you can get. And once those things are habits, add 1 more. Make it a habit, add another, and eventually you're going to have that snowball effect of really seeing a lot of movement in your business.
Yeah, it is. We talk about that about a week and a half ago in my podcast. We talked about daily success systems and like tracking systems. And sometimes you guys just need to make a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet, or maybe you're a pen and paper sort of a girl or guy, and to have something that you just track every single day. Make sure that you pick a platform. Erika, it's Facebook. Some of you guys, you might be more attached to Instagram or maybe TikTok or whatever. And figure out what are the main things that you have to do, because every platform is a little different, right? The way that you're going to prospect on LinkedIn is very different than Facebook or Instagram. But you got to make a little daily method of operation to say, you know what, this is the minimum I'm going to do. At the very minimum, I'm not going to let my head hit the pillow until I do an Instagram reel, until I make my 3 posts, until I do my 4 stories, until I send out 5, follow 5 new people and send you 5 messages. What would that really take you? An hour? Half hour? It wouldn't take you that long if you just said, you know what, this is my daily to-do list. And then over time, you're right, it becomes habitual, it becomes who you are. I look at some of the most prolific social media experts in network marketing, like Jessie Lee Ward. She is a monster. I'm actually not even sure she's human. I don't think so. I think she's out of this world. I think she's extraterrestrial for sure. And she'll agree that there's no way that just the energy. And because of COVID, she would double down on social media. And so it's like she doesn't even have to think. She posts, she does her things. She goes in TikTok. She does live every single day. She goes live every single day. She did live every single day, by the way, Erika, for 700 days in a row.
Wow.
What would happen in your business, guys, listening right now, if you decided to do find one platform and go live there every single day? If you decided to make 3 posts every single day, if you decided to do 5, 10, 15 reach outs every single day, I guarantee you guys in 90 days, in 6 months, in 12 months, you wouldn't even recognize your life. You wouldn't even recognize your business. Like even the simple act of adding 5 or 10 new friends every single day on Facebook. What is that? That's 300 new friends every single month. After a year, you have 1,800 new friends. That's 3,600 new eyeballs seeing your information, your content, your value every single day. So guys, be consistent. Start because you're bad. That's one of the things I just wrote down from Erika. Start with what you have and just create a game plan. And, guys, rip the Band-Aid. You're going to become good. Thank you so much, Erika. Let's continue this conversation over on your podcast. If you guys are not already subscribed, go check out Erika on Level Up Your Life, where she's going to be sharing her best tips, tricks, and tactics on building a professional network marketing business and how to become, 800 people. # goals. Thank you so much, Erika. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.